Welcome, friends. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. This is Tiffany with the Victory Homemaker, and I just so appreciate you being here today. This is going to be a budgeting video. So if you've seen my other videos, other cash stuffing videos, this is the numbers behind that. So you can kind of see that number that I proclaim in the title. Where did that come from? And I want to be super transparent about that and show you that that's a real number. And so if you're returning, I appreciate you. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and I have journeyed through homelessness into owning my own home, and my budgeting style is a little bit different than what's out there. It's a crisis budget. A crisis budget isn't something that you need to follow all of the time, but when you find yourself in a situation where there is a lot more month than money, or if you've recently been divorced or separated and you've lost part of your income, or you've had a layoff or lost your job in some way, then you've really got to take a harder look at your finances than you would normally from month to month. And this is my process in pulling myself out of that crisis situation financially. And so I hope that's helpful to you. If it's helpful to you or someone you know, then I hope you share that with them, and if that's appropriate with your friendship. But the forms that I have found online to do budgeting don't work with my method of handling crises in budgeting. So I have made a form that I will use once I'm out of this crisis budget, because it puts things in the proper order for me to handle them by priority. So it's not 100% right for dealing with this crisis, and maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to create a form to deal with the crisis portion of it and go through the priorities. I think I do. But I'm going to talk to you about my numbers. So in May, I was laid off. In June, that was my first month of unemployment. And we're also going to briefly just look at the overview of July, because my budget situation, you kind of need to see a glimpse of all three of those to understand where I'm at financially. I am paid I'm not paid a month ahead. I have paid my bills a month ahead. So my income in May paid June's bills. So everything I've collected in June is going to my July bills. And, it just rolls over like that. So it's a little confusing to keep saying that through the video, but just know that I'm a month ahead, and that's how some of this works. And that's how I'm not as stressed about my finances as I would be if I were facing this without my bills paid this month. Because I would be panicking, and I've had some moments even so looking at this that I've been like, oh goodness, and just really had to take a step back and again calm down, and then come back and look at it again. So again, no shame in this video for me or for you. If you are looking at this and looking at your own finances, I just strongly want to assure you of grace. Give yourself some grace. We take a look at it and make your plans, and leave any kind of shame or beating yourself or your partner up about your finances, because that's not helpful. It doesn't get you forward. It doesn't get you to the goal. It just makes it harder. And so I'm going to talk about my situation. I'm going to share what's going on with some of those things, and I'm going to be truthful about that. I just don't want you to think I'm beating myself up, because I've tried that. It doesn't work. So there we are. Okay. So on to May. Just want to lightning blast through this, because I don't want this to be an hour-long video, and I'm happy to answer any questions down below. So please feel free to reach out to me that way. So my budget looks like this. And again, this isn't the full crisis worksheet, but this is the worksheet I want to be using once I get myself out of crisis. So it's in the proper order. The biggest piece being this savings piece. We have to pay ourselves first, but that's for another video. Okay, so my May income, I was getting $1,000 a week. So 4 weeks is $4,000. Cell phone allowance was $100 and truck allowance was $400. So I was getting an additional $500 cash every month because my truck and my cell phone were used during my employment. And rather than give me a company vehicle, they used mine and paid me for it. So rental income, I have a rental property and I get $1,100 a month in rent. And so that is a grand total of $5,600. What I did with that money on average in the month is I did not save an emergency fund. And again, not condemning, not beating myself up here. I'm just being clear. Yes, this is something I will be changing. And looking back now, hindsight's 2020, right? I can see so many things in my budget that I'm like, wow, that was not wise. And so yes, anyway, I was doing 401k with my employer, and I was tithing. So that took $1,000, so here $1,060 out of my budget, left me with $4,540. Paid my house payment, my truck payment. That's a huge truck payment. Rental, mortgage, insurance. Insurance is my insurance for the truck and life insurance, and my utilities and cell phone. So that took another $2,804 out of my budget, but that left me still with $1,700. So usually I still had quite a bit of money with discretionary income to but I felt like I had money. And anyway, groceries, $400. I did not have to pay for gas because I had a company gas card that paid for that. Pebbles would have her food and toys and, stuff. Eating out was a huge chunk. I did not save anything for a buffer. I did not have the emergency fund. So that took another $1,050 out of my finances, leaving me with $686. I did have and do have some debt payments. So I have a credit card that's pretty low, and I have a personal loan. So that's another $130. Because I worked so much and it was so stressful, I had a lawn maintenance guy. He charged me $35 a week, which is dirt cheap and well worth it if I have money coming in to pay that. Well worth it if I can afford it. And my understanding of what I could afford in May and what I can really afford has changed. So even if I had this amount of money, I would not say I could afford this now. But I felt I could in May. And I was getting 2 massages a month, which really helped with the stress and the migraines, and getting my hair and nails done. Pardon me while I get a drink there. Okay, so I was getting my hair and nails done. That took another $540. So pretty much emptying out the budget in May. A lot of frivolous spending in there, a lot of things that, looking back, if I had saved an emergency fund, if I'd taken this $1,700 and put a chunk of it away in an emergency fund for the last 5 years that I had this job, I would be in a far different situation than I am right now. But I did not. And so this is what it looks like. Okay, so what does it look like for June? Well, let me go back. Total income for May, $5,600. At the end of May, when I was laid off, I immediately went to the unemployment website and figured out what my weekly pay was going to be. So my weekly pay is $553. So in thinking about my June budget and thinking about, okay, I know this is no longer going to be the case. What is my new budget going to be? Am I going to make it? So $553, 4 weeks is $2,212. Well, that's not quite enough, but I do still have rental income. So $1,100 in addition means that I would have $3,000, a little over $3,000 to work with. And that would cover it. It doesn't give me a whole lot of wiggle room, but it does cover it so I can breathe, right? It's okay. I'm going to make it. So what happened in June is a couple of things. So in June, there was a huge electrical issue at my rental, and there was a bill of almost the entire rental income. So it was just over $1,000. There was no income coming in June for the rental. So that brings me back to $2,212. Well, there's also a waiting week. So I missed a week of unemployment income. So now I'm back down to $1,659. So what I did was I gathered all of the cash I had anywhere, and if I had some change in my truck or, I gathered all of my cash and paper cash. I don't mean change like the coins, but I gathered all of my paper cash out of my accounts and wallet and any coat pocket, that I might have tucked something in at some point when I was being so frivolous with my money. So what I did have was $53. And I think that's funny because 53 and then 53 in my unemployment, I don't know why that is the same, but I just find that funny. So I did have $53. So my total income in June was really $1,712. Well, $1,712 doesn't cut it. So what I had to do is in July, so I used my first unemployment check in July for June's bills. So again, I'm paid a month ahead so that I have some wiggle room with this. And so I was able to take that and move it over to June. So in June, the other thing I did is I started driving. I've never done this before, but I started driving for Uber. And Uber is a great way to get some emergency cash while you have transportation and if you can afford the gas. That's kind of a big ask. It's kind of a big ask on $80. So it's my first week, all my unemployment checks, and then this is the first week in July. That check, a little bit of Uber money. So as it comes about, I was able to cut my expenses, and with the Uber money, I was able to make it. And I'm not sure with all of my finagling that this totals up anymore, but so 24, yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the deep details, but I paid my bills, and I wound up with some money left over. You'll see in the cash stuffing videos, I was able to stuff all of my envelopes, and I was able to make all of those payments because of this and because of my Uber payments. So I did make it in June, and you'll see, as you saw in July, I can make it without Uber, and Uber's only going to make that easier. So my goal is to earn $300 a week with Uber with a side hustle and give me some breathing room in that budget so that I can start turning things around. I appreciate you so much, and I just hope this is helpful. Just a quick Oh, so goofy. Okay, just a quick snapshot of my numbers and where they're kind of going. I hope that kind of helps explain what I've done in my cash stuffing videos. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to make the decisions I've made in future videos. So if you have any specific questions about that, please leave them below. I would love to answer them for you. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that your week is victorious, and I will see you on my next cash stuffing video.